If your finished basement gets flooded from sump pump failure, that's not the time you want to find out that you didn't have enough or any coverage for your basement. If you live in a condo and the unit above you catches fire, that's not the time you want to discover that you're underinsured. In this episode, I will address common mistakes and assumptions people often make when it comes to their property insurance policy. I will also point out what homeowners insurance does and does not cover, how homeowners insurance policies really work, and what you can do before a loss ever occurs so you're not caught off guard when it matters the most. By the end of this podcast, you will want to do a review of your property insurance policy to see if you have adequate coverage, you know what your deductibles are, and if you need to add any endorsements or add-ons for proper coverage. Welcome to the Happy Homeowners Hub Podcast, where we share real-life stories and break down the lessons, mistakes, and the wins that can save you time, money, and stress on buying your first home, navigating your property claim, selling your home by owner, and home maintenance tips. I am your host, Fred Turner, and each week I'll guide you through these 4 topics. This podcast is episode 2, which is about property claims and is titled, Know Your Property Insurance Policy. I thought my policy covered that. Today we're talking about one of the most common and frustrating things I hear from homeowners after a loss. Fred, I thought my policy covered that. I've heard that exact statement hundreds of times over the last 15 plus years of working in the property restoration industry. It usually follows fire, storm damage, or some other unexpected event that turns a normal day into a highly stressful one. Most homeowners buy insurance with one simple belief: if something bad happens, my insurance will take care of it. That belief is understandable. Insurance is complicated, policies are long, and the language is hard to understand legal jargon. Most people don't read their policies line by line, and even if they do, it's not always easy to understand how that policy information applies to real-life situations. Insurance policies are not designed to cover everything. They are designed to cover specific risk, under specific conditions, specific limits, and exclusions. That difference really matters. Here is the Happy Homeowners Hub Podcast disclaimer. The information provided in this podcast does not and is not meant to be considered as professional or legal advice and should not be used without consulting a legal professional or a licensed insurance agent. This information was learned and observed from my 15 plus years in the property insurance industry. Why homeowners are often surprised about coverage issues. In my experience, homeowners are usually surprised for 3 main reasons. First, they confuse damage with covered damage. Just because something is damaged does not automatically mean it's covered. Second, homeowners assume common problems are insured problems. Issues such as wear and tear, long-term leaks, poor maintenance, construction defects, or gradual damage over time are often not covered, even though they may appear sudden when discovered. Third, they don't realize that coverage depends on how the damage occurred, not just what the damage was. Insurance companies care deeply about the cause of loss, they call it. Here are some real-life examples. Let's walk through a few common scenarios that I often come across. A homeowner notices water damage on the ceiling. He assumes it's covered, but the investigation shows the leak has been occurring gradually over months. Most policies exclude long-term or repeated seepage. The result is often a denial for this type of claim. Another homeowner has a finished basement that gets flooded after a heavy rain. They assume homeowners insurance will cover it, but the water entered through a crack in the foundation, not from a burst pipe. That damage is often denied. If the basement flood happened from sump pump failure or water backup and you have an endorsement that covers those items, then it would be covered. Sump pump or backup coverage is not typically part of the basic homeowner's policy. It is usually an add-on, also known as an endorsement. Basement endorsements also have coverage limits. Some policies can have a $10,000, $20,000, or sometimes even a higher limit, so check with your agent for available options. Then there's roof damage. A homeowner sees some loose shingles and notices water damage on the inside of his house, assuming it's storm-related. However, the insurance inspection concludes that the roof was very old and at the end of its useful life. Suddenly, the claim is reduced to only interior damage being covered, or the claim can totally be denied due to the wear and tear of the old roof. From the homeowner's perspective, the damage is real. From the policy's perspective, the cause matters more than the result. Animal damage can be a strange one. Typically, if a raccoon damages your roof, fascia, or soffit, it's often covered. But if a squirrel causes the same damage, it's typically not covered. That's due to the animal's classification and the type of damage it's capable of causing. Some insurance companies are limiting raccoon damage coverage, and others are eliminating it altogether, so check your policy for details. Speaking of limits, if you live in a condo, you should know if you have adequate limits to your condo insurance policy. To understand what limits you should have, you need to know who is responsible for the drywall in the condo unit. Sometimes it's the homeowner association's responsibility, also known as the HOA. Sometimes it's the property owner's responsibility. The HOA bylaws specify who is responsible, but the legal verbiage is not always clear. If you're not sure, get an attorney to provide you with clarity or ask the HOA to provide clarity in writing. Knowing these details up front will help you determine how much coverage you will actually need. I have seen condo coverages range from $25,000 to $65,000 to $260,000 in the same condo building. What is your insurance policy? Your insurance policy is a contract. It spells out what is covered, what is excluded, what conditions must be met, how much the insurance company will pay, and it also includes limits, deductibles, and endorsements that can significantly affect the outcome of your claim. Two neighbors hit with severe storm damage and both have the same insurance company can have very different outcomes because their policies are not identical. These are parts of the policy you should know. There are a few areas every homeowner should at least understand about their homeowner's insurance policy. Dwelling coverage. This is the part of your coverage for repairs or to rebuild your home. Make sure the amount reflects today's construction costs, not what your home is valued at on today's market. Other structures, detached garages, sheds, and fences are often limited to a percentage of the dwelling's coverage. Usually this coverage is 10% of the property value. Code upgrades. Code upgrades are the change in a property code that adds extra costs to upgrade the property to current city codes. For example, ice and water shield on a roof is now code in most cities, but 20 years ago, it may not have been code. GFI outlets are now required near water sources and are now code for safety purposes, but they were not code long ago. Code upgrades are typically 10% of the dwelling coverage, but check with your policy for specifics. Personal property. Your belongings, furniture, clothes, household items, jewelry, etc. may be covered under an actual cash value basis, but unless you have replacement cost coverage. How I explain what personal property is to my customers is this. If you turn your house upside down, everything that falls out is considered personal property. Loss of use, also known as ALE, which stands for Additional Living Expenses. This helps pay for temporary housing, food, and other essentials if your home is not livable and you have to move out for a while. Exclusions and endorsements. This is where most surprises live. Water backup, sewer backup, flood damage, mold limitations, and special deductibles are all common examples of exclusions, and where an endorsement would be advantageous. An endorsement, as I mentioned previously, is an add-on to your standard insurance policy. For example, if you live in a floodplain, it would be prudent to get a flood insurance endorsement. Understanding your insurance policy. The best time to understand your insurance policy is before you need it. Here are a few steps that can make a big difference. Ask your insurance agent direct questions. Don't ask, am I covered for this or that? But, what types of water losses are excluded from my policy? Or, how is roof damage handled in my policy? Review your declarations page annually. That single page tells you your coverages, limits, deductibles, and endorsements. Document your home and your belongings. Photos and videos taken in advance and saved in the cloud can make claims smoother and reduce stress. Sometimes you will need proof of these items if you are claiming them as part of your loss. Understanding your deductibles. Different types of losses can have different deductibles, especially wind or hail deductibles, which can be higher than expected. During a claim, knowledge is power and can greatly reduce your stress. If you have a loss, knowing your insurance policy in advance helps you ask better questions and avoids costly assumptions. It also helps you recognize when something doesn't sound right and when it might be time to ask for clarification, request policy language, or seek professional guidance. The goal isn't to fight with your insurance company. The goal is to understand the rules of the game you're playing. In closing, insurance is here to help when things go wrong, but it works best when the homeowners understand what they actually purchased. I thought my policy covered that. is a sentence you can often avoid with little upfront preparation and the right information. That's exactly why the Happy Homeowners Hub exists. You're not meant to navigate this alone. Check out our Facebook page and post your questions there. Who knows, your question and my answer to your question may help other people having the same problem. If this episode was helpful, consider sharing it with a friend or a neighbor and follow me. If you want more tools, information, and resources to help you feel more confident as a homeowner, visit happyhomeownershub.com. So to recap, now you know what property insurance is, how it works, what it covers, and what it does not cover. That there are limits to each section of your property coverage, that there could be different deductibles for specific events, what an endorsement is, and do you need to add any to your policy, how to be proactive and take the necessary steps before you have an insurance loss. If you'd like more information on navigating property claims, I have published a book available on Amazon.com called The Happy Homeowners Handbook for Navigating Property Claims, and I have a companion to that book called the Happy Homeowners Claim Documentation Booklet. For more information on these books and others, go to my website, happyhomeownershub.com. Hopefully, you will continue to listen to this podcast, learn things, gain new insights, feel empowered, and relieve some of your stress. My goal is to make you happy homeowners with no regrets. If you would like to receive my newsletter, which begins March of 2026, just go to my website, happyhomeownershub.com, and fill out the contact us page and put the word newsletter in the message box. In closing, thank you for joining me in this episode of the Happy Homeowners Hub Podcast. My goal is to make your homeownership journey smoother, smarter, and way less stressful. I've got some great stories, tips, and periodic guest experts coming up in future episodes, so stay tuned. And remember, your home is your biggest investment. Be smart from the start. Thanks for listening. This is Fred Turner, and I'll see you at the next episode. Have a blessed day. Goodbye.